Welcome to this explainer. You made it through the divorce. The emotional hurdles, they're finally behind you. But what happens when you try to move on and you realize you can't actually prove your legal independence? Well, today, we're handing you the ultimate map to navigate Colorado's legal bureaucracy and retrieve your divorce decree, step by step.
Picture this. You've moved on. You've scrimped and saved for the down payment on your absolute dream home. And you're sitting right there at the closing table, pen in hand. Or maybe you're standing at the county clerk's office, super excited to apply for a new marriage license. And then, suddenly, everything grinds to a devastating halt. Your mortgage is rejected. No marriage license. Why? Simply because you are missing one single vital piece of paper that proves your past is legally settled.
So the crucial point here is that failing to have this document physically in your hands causes severe, real-world paralysis. You might think the divorce is totally final the day the judge bangs the gavel, right? But the rest of the world, banks, the Social Security Administration, title companies, they literally don't know that until you show them the proof. Without your decree, you are legally stuck.
So, to ensure you never face that roadblock, here's our roadmap for today. We'll cover the missing piece of paper, the difference between a decree and a certificate, our step-by-step retrieval guide, the Denver County exception, overcoming roadblocks and fees, and your next steps.
Okay, let's dive into this. Part 1, the missing piece of paper and why you need it. The reasons you need this are vast. You need it for refinancing a home, legally changing your name back, or updating your life insurance beneficiaries. But let's bring this to life for a second. Imagine a parent, let's call her Sarah. Sarah's ex-spouse suddenly stops paying court-ordered child support. So Sarah goes to the local child support enforcement agency for help, but the agency's hands are tied. They tell her, look, we believe you, but we can't enforce a court order we can't see. Because Sarah didn't have her official court orders, the actual divorce decree, she was completely blocked from getting the financial support her kids needed right then and there.
Moving on to Part 2, Decree versus Divorce Certificate, and knowing the difference.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the stark contrast between these two documents. First, we have the Decree of Dissolution, which in Colorado is Form JDF 1116. This is the big one. It's an exhaustive, legally binding court judgment. Then you have a dissolution verification, which most people just call a divorce certificate. That is just a simple state-issued verification. They are entirely different things. As we break this down, you'll see how the origin and the contents completely change depending on what you actually need. The decree comes directly from the county district court and contains every private detail of the split: property division, custody, support terms, the whole shebang. The verification, however, that comes from the health department and literally only lists your names, the date, and the county. It won't help you divide a bank account. For that, you absolutely need the decree.
All right, Part 3, Step-by-Step Retrieval Guide for the State Courts.
Thankfully, Colorado has actually streamlined this for most cases. First things first, you'll want to visit the centralized Colorado Judicial Branch Record and Document Request online form. It's super straightforward. Second, just enter your contact info and mailing address. Third, you'll input your specific case identifiers. And finally, under Domestic Relations, you explicitly select Divorce Decree, and, this is key, make sure you check the box saying you need it certified. It's a really easy online starting point for most standard district court cases.
But to make this smooth, you really need to come prepared. Know your exact case number, the county where the divorce was finalized, and the exact names used on the petition. Because if you don't know your case number, the court is going to hit you with a $5 state-assisted search fee just to dig through their index manually. Having this information on hand bypasses that fee entirely and dramatically speeds up your processing time.
Let's move to and see how this builds in Part 4, the Denver County exception, a jurisdictional maze.
So Denver County represents a really unique administrative enclave. It is administered entirely separately from the state's standard unified judicial branch. It's like a giant puzzle. Take a look at your old paperwork. If your case number begins with a year, followed by GV, GS, or D, for example, something like 17GS1234, you have a Denver municipal case. And that changes everything about how you retrieve your documents.
Because, as the source material makes explicitly clear, in-person processing is mandatory for Denver County court records. That incredibly convenient statewide online portal we just talked about, yeah, no way, it will not work for you. If you have a Denver County court case, you must physically go down to the Lindsay Flanagan Courthouse or the City and County building in Denver and present a valid, government-issued photo ID to the clerk in person.
Next up, Part 5, Overcoming Roadblocks and Fees, and what it costs.
$20. That is the standard certification fee assessed by Colorado District Courts per document. And remember, if you're using this decree for any official legal or financial proof, like refinancing that house or changing your name, a standard photocopy just isn't going to cut it. It absolutely must bear the court's official certification stamp, and that costs $20.
But wait, that's not all. On top of the certification fee, courts also charge 25 cents per page for paper copying. And let's be real, divorce decrees can be pretty long, especially if they include complex asset divisions or really detailed parenting plans. Fortunately, for the actual parties involved in the divorce and their attorneys, this per-page copying fee is capped at a maximum of $15.
Now, time is also a cost here, right? If you just need a simple verification and you go in person to the health department by appointment, you can have it in 15 minutes. Easy. Standard online court requests for your actual decree, those take about 3 to 5 business days for a response. But whatever you do, avoid the mail-in option if you're on any kind of deadline. Mail-in requests are routed through a sorting facility all the way down in El Paso, Texas, and can take up to 30 days to process. Actually, if you are rushing to close on a house next week, mailing a request is literally the absolute worst option.
Finally, Part 6, Next Steps and Legal Disclaimer. Taking action.
And this brilliantly illustrates why having multiple copies solves so many future headaches. Here's exactly what you need to do next. First, secure 3 to 5 certified copies of your decree immediately. You're going to need to hand them over to various agencies who, frankly, may not ever give them back. Second, if you forgot to request a name change during the divorce, don't panic, you can still file Form JDF 1824 in the same court. Third, make sure you update your retirement account orders, known as QDROs. And finally, lock these copies up in a secure, fireproof location.
Now, before we wrap up, it is incredibly important to note, the information in this explainer is accurate and it's helpful based strictly on Colorado's administrative frameworks, but it does not substitute for legal counsel. Every single family law situation is uniquely complex. We highly encourage you to consult a qualified, localized legal professional for customized advice or specific concerns related to your unique situation.
Which brings us to the end of our journey today. You now have the complete map to navigating Colorado's record system. So, I'll leave you with this. Now that you have the map, what is the very first step you will take today to secure your legal independence? Go check your files, find that case number, and start your records request right now. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.